digest. From lane to the new shining ground, echo chants where the legends are found. Heroes carved in the heart of time, we march on through grit and grime. Oh Tottenham, Tottenham till I die. Raise the banner, let it fly. Through the rain, through the fire, this is my club, my only desire. Oh Tottenham, Tottenham till I die. Raise the banner, let it fly. Through the rain, through the fire, this is my club, my only desire. Echoes of King and Greaves in the air. Every goal, the sound declares. Heartbeats pound like a drummer's song, marching forward, fierce and strong. We're the ones who rise in the clash. Numbers running in a white shirt dash. History burns in the roaring crowd. Every game we scream it loud. I'm Tottenham, Tottenham till I die. Raise the banner, let it fly. Through the rain, through the fire, this is my club, my only desire. We're the ones who rise in the clash. Numbers running in a white shirt dash. History burns in the roaring crowd. Every game we scream it loud. I'm Tottenham, Tottenham till I die. Raise the banner, let it fly. Through the rain, through the fire, this is my club, my only desire.
Hi guys and welcome to THFC Till We Die, your home of Tottenham past and present and exciting future, of course, on the Thomas Frank, the man who would stand on the soldiers of the glory of Ange Postecoglou and take us to further champions and cups and everything else, because we're the greatest team in the world and you Arsenal fans have won nothing and you're just going to sit there and cry. Joining me tonight at mocking Arsenal, as we shouldn't really. We're trying to be professional, but we will. Sorry, Bobby and Brenny, if you're watching, is my mate from America. He is the American Hotspur. He's the one and only Steve. Steve, how are you this evening, sir?
I'm excellent, man. I've been looking forward to this all week. I always enjoy the weekends where I can jump on and participate in the channel. Yeah, to all those Arsenal fans, I hope you cry. Cry, damn it, cry. Yeah, because you're always going to be the first loser. You're always going to be the first loser.
I do you know what? This Eze deal is coming. He is coming to Spurs. I've been told something. I had 2 voice notes today from the people I know, and all this coming out. It's people losing their heads. Oh, he's not coming. Oh, he was wrong, and you don't know what you're talking about. Well, we do, because he is coming. People need to realize PSR ends on the 30th, ends on Monday, and it starts again on Tuesday. So if you do it right, that you get your paperwork all ready just to go in on Tuesday morning, then it doesn't go against what you spent for the previous 3 years. And I want to say a very special thank you to the first comment to Hot God 10, who put in a lovely comment actually under the show we did. And can I thank everyone who's watched that show? That's nearly hit 700 views.
Woo!
Now I did that solo. Just went on, just talked about it, didn't, just gave you the news I've got. And what's ever come across from that, I want to thank every one of you. It means a hell of a lot to me, and really did lovely for you to do that. But Steve, I've spoken to a few people in. We're just going to talk about a few things tonight. There isn't a lot of news around. Everyone's very quiet, so we're just going to talk a little thing about what's happening in the world of Tottenham. Good evening, Dermot. Good evening, Hunt God 10. We've got John 68. Big up to you, Dave. It says good evening, Dermot and Steve. Big up to you, Giant 68. We're doing well. We've got Simon Cohen. Evening, Dermot. The silence is deafening at Spurs. Yeah, because nobody can do anything. Nobody can do anything. PSR, everyone's at the help. Maybe the clubs that look, we're not a club that's in danger of going over PSR. I've already said that, and we've already talked about that. So really, it's about the window's a long time, isn't it, Steve? It doesn't close until the 1st of September.
Yep.
And
Correct.
I think, do you think because we've been so frustrated with last window that we see the same thing happening again? Look, I've been told we're going to have a decent window. I have a decent window all day long. I mean, did you expect us to sign anyone within the first couple of weeks of the window?
No, not really. And you know, the reasoning for it is because if it's a big name, it's going to take a long time. I mean, we're talking about you're talking about team negotiating with team, and then team has got to negotiate with the player. This is you know, a carefully orchestrated ballet, if you will. But that being said, the interesting thing is that you know, Spurs have already brought back Matisse Tell on a number that actually is perfect for Spurs. And they also are going to announce Nicolo Pisolo, the Italian midfielder, the Italian 10 that applied his trade at AS Roma. As soon as the international duties are concluded, that is going to be made official. So there are moves being made. Of course, Kota Takai was just signed from the J League, the young Japanese international center back. So the reality is, it's, you know, Tottenham isn't quiet. Tottenham is doing what Tottenham does, which is doubling down on the youth invasion, and that's something that I completely saw 100% coming. So that's nothing new. But as far as big names, you know, it's different, right? I would probably assume that Liverpool had negotiated for months for Florian Wirtz and Jeremy Frimpong. I'm sure Manchester City had to carefully orchestrate the transfer of Ryan Cherokee and some of those other names as well too. So this is not something that can happen overnight, or even in a span of 24 hours, or a span of a week. So I fully expect that if there is big names down the pike, and I think you and I both agree that Eberechi will be a Tottenham Hotspur. That it will be announced, and it's just going to be on their timeline. Simple as that.
Yeah, it is. And we all know PSR is tight, so they don't really want to put anything on this PSR. They'd rather put it on the next PSR and kick it down the road. I think that's what most clubs are doing, because if you put it on this PSR, then that might just, like, if Palace need money for, say, 20 million to get them out of PSR problems. You remember when we bought Brennan Johnson, Forest then waited for Brennan Johnson, got 50 million from Spurs, but it did affect Forest longer down the road because they got a points deduction for breaking the PSR. So maybe a lot of teams are waiting. Hang on, if we can get over it, let's put it on to the next 3-year cycle.
Correct.
Instead of the past 3-year cycle.
Right.
For me.
Right. The interesting thing is it's, you know, again, that's where their, you know, accountants come into play, because they're able to pencil with pretty much anything that they want to and make losses, turn losses into profits, those type of things.
And
but you can also put yourself, I was going to say, you can also put yourself in an advantageous position by waiting an extra week. You can actually turn around and write those losses off over the span of the next 3 years, instead of putting yourself behind the gun. As this PSR window closes, 100%.
Yeah, and look, transfers are never done in a day. Transfers do take time, and it will get done when it gets done. And Pete, I think the speculation around Eze has been over the top. You know, you got a fake last night. Come out and some fake Premier League transfer thing. Oh, Arsenal are in. Here we go for Arsenal, and there was a load of cobblers and. Yeah, I was speaking to an Arsenal fan today, and he voice noted me. He went, "What a load of cobblers! We need a striker, then we need a a centre attacking midfielder. I mean,
Sure.
I was saying to you, I watched Lee Judges on YouTube today, and he was going mental over it, like about their transfer policy and how they've been buying. But it's a subject we're going to get into in a while because you made a very good point on that.
Yep.
Big up to Hot God 10. I'm not panicking. I know not, Matt. Neither am I. It's going to happen. So there you go. Big up to Anthony Lynch. Good evening, Dermo. Greets from West Cork. Big up to you, Anthony. Hope you're doing well. Hot God 10 says how many fans and content creators are losing their, you know what? I know. It's funny. It is funny. It is hilariously funny. Hot God 10. Evening, Steve. Big up to you, James.
What's up,
We've got Jack.
What's up, HG?
Your pressing sensational. Do explain if you can the current cash flow problems, if indeed they are real. Well, I've just asked the question to our source, and his response were not as bad as it's not as bad. We have it's been made out that we're skin. We're not skin.
Right. No.
It's been made out. All this we've got major cash flow problems. We don't. It's not as bad as the media are making it out to be. So again, Steve, is it the media that the media is like everyone's on tenterhooks? What's happening at Tottenham? We need players in. And then the media get that. And then they just put their little spin on it. And then it sends everyone else into things. So
because reporters have sources, and so a source will leak something and just say, oh boy, there's potential. We're gonna have a cash flow problem. So then they go online and they do, their flimsy research, and they'll pull numbers off the spot track or whatever the case may be, and they'll cherry pick numbers, and then write a narrative that Spurs are broke. And the reality is, Spurs print their own money. Spurs are, if you're going off numbers of say the Deloitte Money League, you will see that Spurs continue, to rank in the top 10 when it comes to revenue and profit. So when you see these type of numbers, yes, a lot of that debt is carried because of the stadium, but those stadium losses are written out over the course of 35 years, and their first payment on the stadium isn't until for another 5 more years in that. So the reality is, Spurs don't have a cash flow issue. What Spurs have is a risk averse issue of spending money. That's kind of where the Spurs issue is. It's not necessarily the fact that they don't have it. It's the fact that they don't want to spend it.
And this is where we need to come in and put an investment in, or some of it. We know there's going to be some sort of investment within the before the start of the season. We do know it's going to happen. So, look, you get somebody to come in that buys the club and wipes away the debt of the stadium debt in one lump sum, wipes away the 300 million that we owe out on transfers, wipes that out in one lump sum, and then say, look, here's 300, 400 million to go and spend on players. And you spend that wisely. It's about spending it wisely, because that is why I named this show. We need to get this window right. And we do need to get this window right, because we didn't get the last window right. And look what happened. Yes, we won a trophy, but look at our Premier League form. It was absolutely disastrous because we didn't get the window right. And again, it moves on to what Steve's going to talk about tomorrow, about the youth system and the youth academy. Tottenham had one of the worst youth academies in the Premier League. Paratici came in, we did it all round, we built it from the press up, and now we got the best bunch of youngsters coming through our club since the 80s.
Yeah.
And them's gone out this week as well to Doncaster Rovers, actually Colum's team, who Colum follows up in Doncaster. One, I did mention it the last time I was on. So
who's going to Doncaster again?
I'll get it here now. It's here.
And then you also have to understand that Johan Lang also let the academy go by the wayside as well too. And so for as much as Paratici tried to rebuild it and try to streamline the academy process, Johan Langer has let it go by the wayside. And so currently I guess I would agree with you that some of the prospects that are coming through the academy are some of the best that we've had, but there's nothing after it. I mean, look at when a couple seasons ago when the Spurs second team ended up winning that Premier League 2 most of those players graduated, and then you saw what happened to the U21s. They fell flat on their face again. So that's something that has to be revived. And the reason why Spurs are making such a commitment outside the club for youth is because, quite frankly, they don't have academy prospects that are ready to come up and fill first team positions. That's exactly the reason.
I think so. I've been doing a bit of research the last few days on the under 21s, and I'm quite excited by it. And I'm looking forward to doing all the watch alongs this season with the under 21s. I'm following their progression. Damiola Ayajai has actually signed for League One. That has now gone through. He is there for the season. He was the one that came on and scored against Elfsberg. Or was it Elfsberg? Yeah, it was Elfsberg when Dean Scarlett and Mikey Moore scored as well that night. So he's going to go out and get first team minutes at a good league, good league.
That's huge. It's huge.
And it's great. It's great for him. So Colin said he will keep an eye on for him for us. Where was I? Which that evening. Yeah. Big up to Anthony Lynch, Best Tottenham Show. Couldn't wait to 8 o'clock. Getting the proper facts. Thank you so much, Anthony. Big up to you. He says, is Pisola an 8 or a 6, lads? I think it's a 6, but maybe you might correct me on that, Steve.
He was developed at a 10, but played a lot of 8 and 10 with AS Roma the minutes that he played. He's not really a 6 at all. But that being said, he's a very promising prospect, and I'm actually excited for that. So very excited for him.
Yeah, great. Big up to Jared. More shopping at St. Vincent de Paul. No, Jared, come on now. Come on. I thought Piazzolla wants to stay at Roma. I heard that, but Steve says he's coming to Spurs, so I have no reason to discount that whatsoever. So
I was told that it is going to be made official as soon as his international commitments are finished.
Yeah,
which would align the announcement after the PSR deadline comes up.
When does that tournament finish? The under 21, the finals this weekend.
That's a very good question. I'd have to.
And actually, because England are playing in the final again.
Okay.
On Sunday, I think it's Sunday.
There you go.
Yeah, and the first Tuesday.
Who are they playing, by the way?
Big up to Giant. He says, Demo, there's been talk and rumors that Spurs have commitments from previous transfers that are due now that are creating a cash flow issue. Is it something that you're aware of? Look, I'm not aware of anything like that. I've asked the question.
Sure.
I'm waiting on a massive update on that. I think Tottenham have enough cash in the bank to cover this. I really do. Now, I don't know the whole facts. I know I've been told when I asked the question that it's not as bad as it's being made out of. I think a lot of it can be turned on its head to suit your narrative or suit how you want to talk about it. And to be fair, I think a club as size as Tottenham Hotspur have just won the Europa League. They've got loads of money from that. Think of all the commercial money they got from T-shirts and cups and everything on the back of that as well. They've had concerts as well at the stadium. And if we do believe that all the money that from all these other activities does go back into the footballing side, then why is there a problem? Why is there a cash flow problem? And I also want to make this clear as well, that Daniel Levy is not the man that pumps money into Tottenham Hotspur. It's Joe Lewis that does it. I saw a lot of people last night, or one person last night, and a few people saying, wasn't Daniel Levy put his hand in his pocket? Daniel Levy doesn't have the money to put into Tottenham. He doesn't have the billions and billions and billions to do that. It's Joe Lewis and the trust have that. They have to put the investment in. Now, are Joe Lewis and the Lewis Trust going to put investment in? Or is the transfer, this is when the takeover is happening. And it's coming to a point where we know something's going to happen very soon. But what is it? It's going to be one or the other. But I cannot see the trust, the Lewis Trust investing in. I think, as I've been reporting, that a takeover will happen. We're just waiting on the go ahead and more information on that, and I should be getting information on that soon. But I think this cash flow issue, I think it's, to be fair, I think it's been made more out. It's been made more out of than what it is. That's just my opinion, Steve. I mean, you might have a different opinion to me, but I just think it's been made. I think it's been made far bigger than what it is, really.
Yeah, I think the interesting thing is that transfer wages are amortized over a 3 to 5 year periods, and it's not just Spurs that do it. Every single team in Europe does it as well too, and it's a way to ease the burden of a transfer deal, right? So you're not going to pay $30 million all up front. It's going to be spread out over a 3 to 5 year period, and I would probably assume that there probably are. There are some payments due this summer, but that being said, that's why you have player sales as well too, or you figure out a way to sell yourself something within the umbrella, just like Chelsea just sold itself its own women's team with a different shell corporation to show profit, and you can turn around and use that to offset losses. I mean, there's thousands of different ways that you can offset some of these losses and make sure that teams, get the money that are owed. That still won't necessarily put you in a situation where you're not going to be able to add. But that being said, I would probably assume that the transfer money that owned is not going to eclipse £50 million. It's probably going to be something between 25 and 40, something in that, something that area. And I would assume that probably could be covered by a player sale. If you want to get rid of Richarlison or Basuma, you can just do it that way without necessarily breaking up the core of your team. So I mean, me personally, it's true that there probably is some payments due, but it's not going to cripple any plans for the summer whatsoever. I don't think so.
And that money, I think, has also been offset anyway for the summer transfer window. Anyway, I think all that financial has always been offset anyway, so it's separated from that. And I think there's more being made out of this then because there's no transfers. Because Tottenham are not buying anyone. Then you see, there's a cash flow problem, and then people jump on that bandwagon to say, there is a cash flow problem. Now, look, I'm not well known in business. I'm not a money man. I don't understand it. People like Sean Butler and Kevin as well, who's on our channel as well, who works in that environment, know more about it than I do. Probably, Steve, you know more about it than I do. I'm not a money man, but I do know that common sense sometimes has to break out. And if you look at it in common sense, that you're right. Say somebody comes in with a 20 million bid for Basuma. Okay, you take the 20 million. Well, half that will go to that club, and we get the other half. Do you know? That's how football's always worked. Big up to Christopher Inshaw. Big up. He said if there's no transfers been confirmed yet, is that because of investment? No, it's because PSR is ending. It ends on the 30th of June. It ends on Monday, and the new set of PSR 3-year cycle starts again on Tuesday. There's a lot of clubs don't want to put their transfer dealings onto this set of PSR, but they want to move on to the next 3-year cycle, which I think you can spend. Is it 100 and something million over a 3-year period?
Yeah, you can't lose 130 million over a 3-year period, something like that.
That's it.
But again, there's a million different ways where you can offset losses to show profit. So it's not do it like, and again, I bring up the Chelsea thing because this just broke a couple days ago that a subsidiary of Chelsea Football Club, Chelsea sold its women's team to itself so it can show profit to avoid PSR breaches.
Yeah, they did that. They did that back in January. That's ridiculous.
Whenever. But the reality is, it's like, and it's like if you're Everton, you're pissed. You know what I mean? Like because Everton got hit with PSR, and you could just say, well, at least Chelsea has better accountants. But no, these are the rules that are in place, and they can easily be circumnavigated. It's just ridiculous. So
yeah. Look. That broke back. Yeah, it did break a couple of days ago again, but they did it, I think, in January. They did something similar in January.
Yeah.
They sold another company to themselves, didn't they? Or was that back in
but
January?
but they also have handshake agreements with Saudi teams. So if they need to sell a player quick, they can sell them to a Saudi team for more than market value, and they can instantly just show profits. You know what I mean? Like Chelsea's so dirty with PSR.
It is, and this is where I think the laws and the framework around PSR and FFP have to be changed, have to be looked at, because we're still waiting for the Manchester City news to break on what that's going to bring down the line. And it's just really confusing, and everyone can slag Daniel Levy off, and he deserves slagging off. Yes, he does. But financially, he has kept us. He's kept us. He's kept us in a good shape, and people are not going to acknowledge that. I get that, because we're all football fans. We all want to win. But we need to build on this success we've had at the end of last season. We need to build on this Europa coupling. Gaza 1991, big up Dermo and Steve, big up Gaza. I've been a few conversation with you in the comment section, but big up to you. My issue is Spurs wait until the end of the director of football. DOF every summer window to move, because they feel the desperation of other clubs benefits more than being prepared to the start of this season. Can't stand them. Look, I think it's totally different this summer. Spurs are gonna strike early, and Thomas Frank wants players in before preseason. Yeah. So Spurs are, and Paratici now. You got Scott Mon out of the way. You got Paratici now doing his consultant work.
3 or 4 days, he's officially going to be back in. So
the 20th. I actually checked up on it. It's the 20th of July. His ban ends. Oh, okay. I got it wrong. I thought it was the 1st of July. It's actually, I read it the other day. It's 20th of July, but he can still work as a consultant up to that point. So you've got him telling Johan Lang, "This is what we're doing. This is where we're going." And I think Vinny coming in as well has set a whole new sort of dynamic.
I would agree.
Where Spurs transfer philosophy is going, and I think they want players. They want them in now, and I think it's right to get them in now, because this is where they failed Ange Postecoglou, but not getting the players in early. And last season, I'll say it before and I'll say it again, with all the injuries we had, the transfer window in the summer and the transfer window in January failed the manager. He was managing with one hand tied behind his back.
Well, he didn't get his starting striker until a week before the season started last summer.
Yeah.
Slinky didn't come through the door until we were literally a week before Leicester City.
Yeah, exactly. I would say big up to We Are Spurs TV. To people who say calm down, the window's long. How did last summer transfer window go? We signed one proven and a bunch of kids. Well, yeah, but We Are Spurs TV. Them bunch of kids actually took us to European glory, to be fair.
Yeah.
The likes of Bergfield, the likes of Archie Gray, the likes of Jed Spence, who never got a look in. The likes of Solanke did actually score important goals on that road to.
Yeah. And by the way, and the youth movement is continuing the summer, Derma.
Yeah.
We just got Taka Takai through the door. Vuskovic is joining us this summer. We brought that Matisse Tell, Mason Milia is joining in January. So it's like, dude, the youth movement is not going to stop anytime soon.
No. And it is right. And look, I get when people say that, but look, we've got to look at what that team did last season with the players that we had in. I'm sure Bergville was not meant to play as many games.
Correct.
He did get to play. And I'm sure Archie Gray was the same. But them players stepped up when we needed them. And they got full of expensive. So, and we have Yang as well.
Yeah. Yang Min. Yeah. Yang Min. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. He's been kept around this preseason as well. So there's
Not
a lot.
Josh Keeley, Keeley and Jamie Donnelly will be around as well too. Yeah.
So you may see a lot more kids. There is another news. Tottenham do have a transfer, another preseason game. It is away to Reading on the. I will get the date, guys.
The 21st. The 21st.
Yeah, I think it. Yeah, July, I think it is of July, away to Reading. So that's another one. That's before the Luton game as well. No, the 19th of July. So I'm just checked it up. 19th of July, 3 o'clock Saturday. We're away to Reading. And then, of course, following that, then on the 26th, we're away to Luton. And then on the 31st, I'm looking forward to this one so much. It's the North London Derby, 12:30 Thursday. Now, I'm not sure if that's 12:30 in the afternoon or 12:30 in the evening. I'm not sure. But home to Arsenal. And then on 3rd of August, we've got in South Korea, we've got Newcastle. Now, why I'm saying about the 3rd of August, there is some rumors flying around, and these are only rumors, that Sonny will play his last game for Tottenham in that game against Newcastle in Seoul if Sonny is to leave. Now, it would make sense.
Yeah.
They'd let him play. It would make a hell of a lot of sense. But if you're on the look, I think Sonny's earned the right to dictate when he goes, how he goes. But my head's I'm in my head and my heart. We need Sonny next season. I think for his experience, I think for his coming on with half an hour to go, or use him a bit more selectively. I think the likes of here, I think Sonny is vital to for us next season. He may not be the winger he is, but his wealth of experience, especially around young kids and a younger squad as well, is going to be vital. And that's just my opinion. But if he does go, good luck to him. I wish him all the best. He's been a legend at the club and he's been a servant. But I was talking to somebody and they did say that to me. And I was thinking about it. Do you know what, Steve? That probably does make a bit of sense.
Yeah, for sure.
I don't know.
I just don't want Sonny to be a very good self. I just don't know if that he can contribute as a starter at the Premier League level anymore. And I think it would be what's the word I'm looking for? Disrespectful if he's like that guy that comes off the bench with 10 minutes left, 20 minutes left, that type of thing. But what I will say is that, you know, if that is true, then it's the perfect send-off, right? But it's the perfect send-off for him to play in front of his South Korean home. I think that would be a great way to say goodbye to Tottenham Hotspur, but also, you know, to also give the fans one last appearance in a Tottenham shirt. But I will say that this can't, like, I understand what you're saying, that it, you know, Sonny has earned the right to dictate where he goes, but as a club, you have to do what's right for the club. I'm not saying send Sonny to Siberia or anything like that, right? If there's a competitive offer in Europe where he can potentially go somewhere and play in Europa or the Champions League, and it makes sense, okay, fine, that's great. But that being said, I mean, you know, if a team in Saudi Arabia, it says like, here's 65 million pounds for Sonny, you're going to say, absolutely, where do I sign? Because you're not going to get that anywhere else on the open market, and you have to do what's right by the club. And it is what it is. I don't think I just do not think that you can allow Sonny to dictate the terms of this and have this drag out all summer long. Eventually, as the club, he is a employee of your club, and eventually you have to step in and say, okay, cool, we've heard from you, we know what you want, but we're going to have to do what's best for us.
I think, look, personally, I think Sonny earns the right. He's been at this club for 10 years. And I think he's earned the right to do it. And I think if Tottenham do it anywhere else, anything else, I think it really will be a kick in the teeth to him, because he stayed where he could have gone to any club.
Correct.
He could have followed Harry Kane out the door, and he did it, and he stayed with us. And he's been through more ups and downs. And anyone who deserved a trophy more than anyone, it was Sonny. So I think personally, I think he's earned the right to do what he wants to do. If he goes, then he goes. He goes with my blessing. If he stays, then great.
Wouldn't it be funny if he ended up at Bayern Munich playing with Harry Kane to close out his career? I think that would be actually quite funny. Actually,
it would. Well, I've read Harry Kane. Bayern Munich have signed a new striker this week, and maybe that Harry Kane could be coming back to Spurs for the start of next season. So that is something that could be in the mix. I read that on, I think it was 442. I was going through that article. So look, whatever happens, but I think Sonny's a legend now.
Yeah, Nicholas Woltmade, the 23-year-old will join Bayern on a long-term contract. So yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
From Stuttgart.
Big up to Greg Senna. Have a round shout for a six that we could probably get them to pay us to take away. And with our manager that brings players back, he would look good a few years ago. Who's that? Who's that, Greg? Let us know. Let us know. Big up to my own nemesis, David Clark. Big up, David. So why does it take our club so long to realise that these academy players, who are mostly from really early age and 2 seasons on loan, to realise they won't become first-team squad players? Perfect.
Prophetic.
Is that... Oh,
Perfect.
I thought it was perfect.
So, yeah, no, it's funny because David, this is where you and I completely align. And you can generally tell with after the first season on a loan. And I granted, I'll say this, that I do believe that there are certain players where sometimes loans don't work, but when they come back into the first team, I know Harry Kane's always thrown out there. He had a couple bad loan moves, but that being said, generally speaking, that's the exception, not the rule. And generally, you can tell just by players being in preseason that they're not first team quality. They go out on loan. Sometimes they have good loan spells, sometimes they don't. But that being said, you can tell if a young academy player is going to be in and around your first team squad. And if they don't, if you can, me personally, I always believe this, if you can actually get a good price for them, see you later.
Yeah. Yeah, look, I get what you're saying. I do understand what you're saying. But if you look at the likes of Dean Scarlett last year and some of the players come in, Mikey Moore's another example. Or you got Donnelly and you got Ashley Phillips being kept around. I think, these players, all players develop at a different time. So just because he hasn't had a good loan at one club or he may develop a bit late, I think doesn't automatically mean he's not going to play well for us. So I think you do have to take your time with these young players. You do have to make sure that they've got the right structure around them, because football is very different now to what it was 5 years ago or 6 years ago. There's more, how can I put it? There's more distractions around younger players now, especially young players at a young age, where they can be easily distracted. And it's down to the clubs. It's down to the manager to look after them and give them the right environment to grow, to flourish, to become a better player. Grant you, Ange Postecoglou didn't use some of the young players enough last season. He didn't. You look at Lancashire, got sent off.
Yeah, he used quite a bit of them. He used quite a bit.
Yeah, he did. But
last year, though.
I'm talking about Donnelly or Lancashire and players like that, where Lancashire got sent off in the European game. We didn't see him again for another 6 months. Because Ange said he couldn't be trusted in a sort of an environment, which I understand, but he is young and he is going to make mistakes, and players have to learn by their mistakes. So the best way to do that is, if a young player makes mistakes, you put him out the next game to make him learn from it, or you don't bin them. You don't just put him on the back seat. He could use Dean Scarlett on more than one occasion when we didn't have a striker. What was we could have used him when we didn't have Scarlett or Sonny, or we didn't have Solanke or Richie or Sonny. We could have used Dean Scarlett up front. So there was times last season where some of these youngsters could have been used. Yes, Elfberg proved to us all what these youngsters can do. I do agree with you what you're saying.
Yeah, okay. I was going to say, though, and this is my wild prediction here, Dermot. Are you ready for this one?
Yeah.
That by the first match of the season, the first match of the Premier League schedule, Ashley Phillips and Jamie Donnelly probably will not be on the first team. Either sold or out on loan again. That's my prediction. Same thing with Josh Keeley. I don't think those guys will be on the first team roster come the first match of the season.
I think Ashley Phillips will be kept around. I do. I think he'd be a squad player. I think Dean Scarlett would be a squad player as well. Josh Keeley needs another year out on loan. I agree on that. He does need another year out on loan. Josh Keeley's going to be an exceptional talent. But if you got the likes of Kinski keeping them out, and who's the other goalkeeper we have?
Brandon Austin.
Brendan Austin. So you got two keepers blocking their way. The problem is there's too many players in the squad that are blocking our youth coming through. So what's the point of having a youth academy if you're going to buy youngsters in to block their way? So
and that's the reason why I don't think Ashley Phillips is going to be around, because when you look at the center back depth and you're returning Dragishin, Danso, you've got Vuskovic in, you just brought in Taka Tanaka. into this club as well too. So you already have 7 center backs already on the roster now, and Ashley Phillips is going to be around. And I would just assume that, you know, midway through, you're gonna realize whether or not he's going to be able to add something to the first team. And there's a good chance, you know, that's the thing. That's why they brought in Vuskovic and Taka Tanaka, Takai. It's not to replace them. It's to bring competition into them, and to at least have some air of competition during preseason to see exactly if Ashley Phillips is ready to compete for a first team spot. Me personally, I just don't see it. So I don't think those guys are going to be around come the first match of the Prem against Burnley.
Look, I think Dragson will go. I think he's going to be sold in the summer.
I would like to see that as well too.
And then that frees up a space down for Ashley Phillips. I don't think Dragson's good enough, personally.
Neither do I. Neither do I.
I think look, we are doing the show tomorrow night how we think Frank's going to set up. But if you look at it, if he does play 5 at the back, how many centre backs do you need as backup? You've got playing 3, so you need 6. You probably need 7 centre backs to cover it all, in case you have any injuries or suspensions. So
correct.
You get rid of Dragerson, then you're left with Romero, Mickey van der Ven, and probably Danso is your first 3. That's your starting 3 if you're playing 3 at the back, right?
Yeah, I was going to say because if they're playing a back 4, then 6 is probably 6 is probably appropriate. If they're playing a back 3, you're going to need 7, if not 8. Yeah. But that being said, it's like But that being said, I like the fact that we actually have options at center back. What I don't like is the fact that we don't necessarily have an answer at left back behind Destiny Udogie. I know I'm going off on a little tangent, but that being said, in one regard, you can respect the fact that we actually finally do have center back depth, which is actually, me personally, it's nice to see. And even if I do agree with you about Dragerson. I don't think he rates.
No,
but
I do. I've seen a lot of people saying Arsenal are in for Eze. They're not in for Eze. I've spoken to somebody today who told me.
Yeah. Yes.
What? Yes to what?
Oh no, I'm concurring with you. I agree with you.
Yeah. Sorry. I was wondering I thought you had breaking news. That's why I stopped. They're not in for Eze. They're on his list. They are talking about he wants to come to Tottenham. Will people stop reading shite stuff on the internet or on X or wherever it is? It is wrong. It is fake. It is not correct. We broke it that he's coming. I spoke to my source today. I even spoke to somebody well-connected who I know very well. And he said Arsenal are just have him on the list. Their main priority is a striker. And I've seen people saying like David Clark, saying here, how many Spurs fans still make excuse for this forward? The only club in for Leslie was Spurs. We're certainly now. Arsenal have not come in for him. They're not going anywhere near him. I'm sorry, but this has got to stop.
From my source, who is a player agent, who is well connected within the Premier League. He's got clients that are in the Premier League, so he's well connected with certain clubs. Right now, Arsenal is 100% in for Victor Gyökeres of Sporting CP. They want him as their striker. And the problem with Sporting is Sporting wants like 100 to 120 million euro for him. Yeah. And that's actually a big number, but considering that I think he had 58 goal contributions across or 53 goal contributions across all competitions last year. Sporting doesn't have a problem moving them, but they want to be paid handsomely for them. And right now, Arsenal is trying to figure out a way to get Victor Gyökeres to the Emirates. Now, from what I was told was that yes, you're absolutely right, Derm. He's on their list, and for whatever reason, if Tottenham cannot close the deal with Eberici for whatever reason, whether it's they can't negotiate down the release clause, or they can't come to a better agreement, or for whatever reason they can't come to personal terms with Eberici, then it would be out of the realm of possibility to believe that Arsenal could step in after talks broke down between him and Tottenham to come in and finalize a deal to bring him to Arsenal. But right now their focus is on Victor Gyökeres, and the only way that they would come in is if for whatever reason talks broke down between Eberechi and Tottenham Hotspur, which can happen because you do realize that Spurs have low ball players before. So
yeah,
I don't know what to
and
tell
also,
you. Victor Gyökeres
also,
right now is their main target.
Yeah, and also as well that you got Man City can't get rid of Grealish, so they're not going to go and after. They won't do anything to get rid of Grealish. So I just and look, and this is another one as well. I know you guys like think I talk shit. I don't. I don't talk bullshit, by the way, and I do. Only thing I say is facts. He says, "Where's the takeover?" It's still happening. That I can't say just because I can't talk about it because I'm not allowed to talk about it, nor is Steve allowed to talk about it because we've agreed we'll only tell you what we're allowed to tell you. Doesn't mean that it's not happening. Yet nobody signed. Yeah, maybe Liverpool have signed, but a lot of clubs again are stuck on PSR. I don't know how difficult this is for anyone to actually get through their head. If you're stuck on PSR, and if I wait a few days, you can organize it all and put it through Monday, midnight Tuesday, when it clicks into Tuesday at midnight from Monday night into Tuesday, early hours of Tuesday morning, then the new PSR kicks in. And for saying, where's the takeover, Dermot? We will tell you once we get news. These things take time. I don't break stuff on this channel unless I know it's 100% accurate. If it's not 100% accurate, I would say it's a rumor. We were 2 weeks before anyone else said Ange Postecoglou was going to get the sack, and everyone give us shite then. So, I'm getting a bit sick and tired of people digging at us where we have actually proven again and again and again that all we do on here is state facts. We don't clickbait and we don't do anything that.
I'll just say this right now, Dermot, that this is just a combination of jealousy and depression from the fan base, right? Yes, we won a Europa League trophy, but as the window opened, you saw what Liverpool did, you saw what Man City did, and it's like, well, why can't we do that? And so, and I really don't like to clown on our fan base, but that's just the reality of the situation. It's like nothing is ever good enough, and I understand that we're like, this is our Tottenham Hotspur are never going to be a club that is going to win a transfer window as far as bringing in splashy names. That's just not what Tottenham has ever been. Yes, they have made nice signings, but that being said, they're never going to be the team that is going to light up the headlines when it comes to transfers, right? But that being said, it's like Tottenham are going to move the way that they feel that it's appropriate. And they're going to bring in the players that they believe are going to help this team improve off last year's trophy. And it is what it is, man. But as far as breaking news, you're absolutely right, Dermot. We break news with the best of them. And here's the thing: it's like we don't have to justify it. When we break news, we break news. If our fans choose to appreciate it, they will. And if they don't, then you're going to get things like What's the Point FC, who's like, where's the takeover? Where's that big bad takeover you're talking about? It's like, well, yeah, but here's the thing. We can't necessarily talk about it because, number one, we just can't talk about it yet because, quite frankly, we were told not to by our sources. Quite frankly, and we're not going to risk and jeopardize trust in sources because you're feeling kind of crunchy because Tottenham hasn't done anything yet this summer, or you felt like they haven't done anything, even though they have. I'm just saying.
Yeah. Hang on, I'm just doing something here. Steve, do you want to read that comment? Sorry.
Sure. This is coming from Carl Simpson, COYS. Come on, you Spurs. Breaking the last few hours, Tottenham Hotspur understood to back off for making a move for Crystal Palace star Eberechi. That comes from Ben Jacobs. Yeah.
It's actually Jacobs, Ben.
Whatever.
Oh, yeah, Ben Jacobs. Yeah. Look, It's quite funny. I'm actually on his website now trying to find it. So it's 6 hours ago, was it? Then, if that's the case, why is it not broke everywhere else then?
Right.
This is look. I know people are getting a bit jumpy because I haven't signed anyone in, but I mean, I'm looking at. I can't find it on. I'm on these actually. Carl, can you send me a copy of that? Actually, Photoshop that for me if you can.
What I will say is that it has nothing to do with what Crystal Palace is asking. the release clause is exactly what it is. It's the release clause. And if you want it, you have to engage it. Okay, fine. It's 68 million pounds. But I would say that if there's any hangup, it's because of personal terms between Eze and Tottenham Hotspur. And I would probably assume that first numbers were exchanged, and Eze was like, "Nah, I'm good." But that being said, that's what negotiation is all about, right? So you're going to come to a number that's going to be good for both the player and the club. And again, these things do not happen within a span of 24 hours. And again, I think anything that you read, take it with a grain of salt. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, exactly. I do as well. Carl, relax. He ain't going to the goodness. No, he's not. Big up to Big Bad Run as well. Palace probably told them hell no to 20 million. Yeah, probably. So things are back to normal with Levy. I wouldn't die in this hill, says Tequila, until he. Well, I'm dying on the hill, Tequila. I'm sorry, I'm already up there. I've already. Thanks for the tip, Card. I acknowledge that. Big rant. Exactly. Our forwards are paused so that Son's goals and GA contributions could be sorely missed. It will be. I'm pretty sure Eze's now a no-go. We have moved on. Carl, I'm sorry. That's not what I'm hearing. I know you. I agree with you, Tequila. I know. Well, I'm sorry. Okay, fair enough. Big up Dermot Steve Don's chest. We get it. We're well done, lads. Look, we're not here for congratulations. We just what we can. Do what's right for the club. Levy and go and sign Eze, Goncarez and Edison. Agree with both. Don't trust Levy further. Well, I can throw him. I think nobody trusts Levy, to be fair. Big up this. Been told Grooney only wants Tottenham. So is he following Eze there?
Ooh, Mark Gahey, I would love to have him. That's another center back from the door. And that's by the way, and then if you look at the back three of Van de Ven, Romero, and Gahey, woo, that's a good back three.
The takeover is going ahead. Revenue Commission are taking. Oh yeah, be a big up, Jerry. I don't know who said that. Was that us or Spurs? Spurs side chat. Jazz. I don't know.
I haven't heard that.
We've got Tequila. Dermo has a good source, but I got two. You know, we've got two Tequila. But no one believe anything 100% what I do. If you do, then I'm a fool. Then I must be a massive fool. Then if I then
hey Tequila man, how you doing this afternoon? And how's your cat, bud? I've been wanting to know how your cat's doing, bud.
Yeah, Levy and Ian out, correct. Tequila Dermo sources are top level, but just shows how fragile transfers are. Look, I still think I don't believe anything I read in anything. I really don't believe anything I read in next. After what I saw last night, or when was it last night? Yeah, last night, that somebody actually created a Premier League X account. Just put up. He actually showed the picture, no word of a lie, of Arsenal fans going to the Newcastle ground. And he put a caption, Newcastle fans going to watch Arsenal. There are... I can't believe it. Loads of people in tonight. Big up to you all. You said, who, Jazz? Let me know who was said what. I don't know what you're talking about. Oh, Lord. I'm not jumpy. I never expected to sign anyone of quality. We've all been here before, lads. Well, maybe I'm just doing...
Dude, I love curmudgeons, man. I just love them. I can't get enough of the curmudgeonry. Now you know what it's like to be a Mariners fan. Good Lord.
Yeah. No, it was on Sky Sports Transfer Talk tonight. All right. Okay, I didn't see that. I got to watch that later. They can't have backed off from a player that they're never putting a bid for. Fluid situations are fluid. Yeah, that's true. That's so true. We'll get 150 million player probably as normal as we do every summer, and that will be it for the big signing. They should express as much as such. Jazz, things happen. My source told me it was happening. Nothing 100%. Take it easy. I'm off. Big up, Big Bad Run. And then Dennis, then say it like that. Listen, Jazz, just take it easy, man. Everyone's entitled to their opinion, what they put in. Eze was like, was there, like Dermo said. So obviously, something that's changed, like closing in on other targets. We're in talks with quite a few. Well, I haven't heard anything yet, and I've asked the question. I'm still waiting to get a response. So I will say, why would they say who's not a Spurs? He's Spurs fan, choose Spurs over Arsenal. I would question his brain if he did. Look, I think Tottenham is a great place to come, Tequila. I do. I think under Thomas Frank, I just really do.
Hasn't Eze expressed as much in the last couple of years that he wants to come to Tottenham?
Yeah,
I think he's
Yeah, I
made that
do.
public. I think he's made it public.
yeah.
I could be wrong.
I'm not going to put. Yeah, no, he did. He did. Where are we now? Jazz Fusion. Tottenham will never pay David's wage. Yeah, there's a rumor going around that we're after Jonathan David again. I don't know how true that is. Carl Simpson, Anthony eating humble pie for what? No Spurs side. Big up to Pharaoh 27. Apparently, Man United bid for member has been rejected. I haven't heard anything, but I will ask the question. Hi, everyone. Hope all is well. Guys, why do we do this every year when buying players takes so long to buy somebody? I know. It's all to do with the PSR, and that's the problem. The PSR thing is come at such the wrong time. If it came any other part of the year, it would have been grand. Frank won't give. Oh, right. Oh, yeah. I'm not definitely reading that out. That would definitely get us. Get us demonetized. I thought David had joined Olympic Marseille. I don't know if he has or not.
I don't think so.
No, Eze's apparently an Arsenal fan. Nobody knows who these players really support, to be fair, to say an awful lot of things. We finished 17th, Dermo. Arsenal finished second. Doesn't make a blind bit of difference. It doesn't mean we won a trophy. We got Champions League. I know they do, but we won a trophy. We've got a Super Cup coming up in about 5 weeks' time, 6 weeks' time. Do you know we've got fits better as.
Now this is just 2 days ago from the Canadian Soccer Daily. And it says that, according to a Torino-based journalist, Giovanni Albanese, who tweeted news on Monday that Jonathan Davis has reportedly agreed to personal terms with Juve. But again, there's nobody else saying it except for Canadian Soccer Daily. So again, take what you will about that. Jonathan David allegedly has agreed to personal terms with Juve, but nobody else is saying it.
We've got Spurs side chat. Arsenal are a better team, but Spurs have the Europa League. Yeah, we've won a trophy. What have they won? Nothing. They won absolutely nothing. And for
the FA Cup 5 years ago, 6 years ago, the FA Cup 6 years ago.
They won the FA Cup 6 years ago. And as for what I was told today, and I've got the voice note to back it up, and I'm not going to release it, but I do have proof to back up what I'm saying, that he said that, Arsenal at the moment, he's Tottenham bound. He said to me, it's 95% done. So when somebody says something's 95% done, you take it. The 5% is dotting the I's and crossing the T's. That's what it is. And around that's it as well. Big up to you. It says financial year is affecting the delay in transfers July versus, and that is the problem. So everyone, because it's such
and the funny thing, Derma, is we've known this for about a month now.
Yeah.
Right. That for the most part, any big signings weren't going to happen until after the fiscal year is finished. And once July 1st hits, and then they can reset their PSR. That's from July 1st to September 1st is when they're going to do the bulk of their business. When it comes to Vuskovic, when it comes to Kai, or if it came to Matisse Tell, we're not talking about large transfer sums at all, right? Something where you can absorb it in the previous PSR. But anything that's big over 50 million pounds, they're going to offset it until after the fiscal year is complete. So, you and I have known this for at least 2 months now.
Yeah, and look, there's ways of being worked around it. Of course, there is.
Correct.
But I will support the team how I want to support them. I will do how I feel is right for me. And if I want to get optimistic and if I want to get a bit ahead of myself, I will do. I'm not like everyone else. I'm not going to sit there and say until they hold up the shirt. That's when I get excited. I'm sorry, I'm not like that. I'm not built that way. That's not me. And I'm not going to be somebody else. I'm not. So I am going to get excited. I am going to get a bit deluded and a little bit delusional and a bit of ahead of myself. That's me. That's me. And
That's Dharma
there's
Trump. It's
there's
the
so many
Dharma Trump.
there's so many rumors going round at the moment. So many rumors going around, so many tweets on X, so many this, so many that. This man said this, Bill Bob said that, Apple T said this. Nobody knows.
Yeah.
Nobody knows what the fact is. And just because Levy's reputation precedes him, once we see somebody putting up just for a little bit of clickbait or whatever it is, Tottenham fans are going to go for it and believe it because Levy's evidence does show us and Levy's reputation does precede him. So I get it. I get it that fans are going to go down that road. But I know what's coming. I know from the proof I have and the voice notes I have and the discussions I have with people I trust on the phone. They tell me a completely different story. And I'm not going to believe anyone else that on X or whatever, because somebody could sit behind a keyboard, create an X account and say, I'm this person. Nobody's going to check it. And they're going to put what they want. I actually speak to a human being who leaves me voice notes and I know what he's saying is correct because I know what job he does. So I know he's not. He would tell me if he would have told me today, Arsenal are going for Eze. He would have told me that. And then I would have come on tonight. This is what's happening. He told me something completely different. So I'm not going to. I ignore X as best I can because I think all that goes on there is a bunch of load of cobblers. I respect what people put in the chat, and if that's their opinion, they go for it. But I am who I am. I'm not going to change for anyone, and I will get excited. I'll be a delusion. I'll be whatever. I'm me, and I'm not going to change for anyone. And do you know what? That's who I am, and people like that. I think you need that in life. You need a bit of optimism. You need a bit of, especially during the seasons where it is quiet. And Roadhouse talk is spot on. He says financial years is affecting every deal. The only likes of Man City, Liverpool, and we look at the Man United deal for the Brentford player. How long's that been going on?
Yeah, exactly.
How long
Brian and Bemo.
Yeah,
Brian and
how long's that going on?
Yeah, it's been going on for about a month now.
And Manchester United can't do anything, I think, to the new financial year starts. So anything they do goes on to the next 3-year cycle. So, you got to look at that deal. And there's been plenty of rumours that he's coming to Tottenham, he's choosing Tottenham, he's coming to Spurs. I mean, I see it every day. Articles. He's coming to Spurs, he's turning down Manchester United. I've been told quite repeatedly he's going to Manchester United. So I've moved on from that. Eze's coming to Spurs. And that is for sure. So big up. We did have a question. Oh, big up to Ellie. Big up, Ellie. Hey, Demetron and Steve. Too many rumors. We need action soon. Don't leave it too late. Again, for God's sake. Yeah, big up, Ellie.
But again, we've already made moves, and I think it's also important to recognize those moves as well too, because it's not like we haven't done anything. We got Vuskovic in this window. We also brought back Matisse Tell, and we just signed Kota Takai from the J League. Regardless of how you feel about it, they're going to provide very much competition at those certain positions, which is absolutely vital. And I fully expect, once the PSR cycle ends and the new fiscal year starts, I'm more than certain we're probably going to see more players come through the door, whether it's going to be via release clause activated or whether it's going to be loan moves. We're going to see at least 6 players come through this window.
Yeah. I'm not getting annoyed, Tequila. I'm just pointing the fact that there's too much bullshit out there, and everyone's just agreeing with it. Where I know the facts, I know what's happening, And it's so frustrating because I would love to show you what I know. I would love to show you who I talk to and the messages I get and the voice notes I get. So it's not getting annoyed. It's just that I get excited because I know something completely different, and I'm very private in what I put out. But you know, I do get excited, and I'm very excited by what's happening. I really am. But no, I'm not good. People can say what they want. People can believe what they want, but I just know something different, and that's the point. That was not getting annoyed at you, but I was getting annoyed that just people just see something the next and then some breaking news he's off. Well, we don't know that. We don't know that because anyone can put anything they want up. Big up to Ellie. That's it, Dermot. You do being you. Big up to you, Ellie, as well. Where are we going? We've got Boris. Big up here. The kid is saying big up to Erwin. Hope the fam as well. Yes, same here. Everyone also seems to forget we have £200 million in transfer debt. So that's why the huge clickbait of cash broke is a thing, even though we will get those funds this coming July. Yeah. So they get covered. Once again, predict when all is said and done, much more will be said than done right every year. We'll see, Jazz. We know that Zaho's target's been talked to. Transfers are very rarely straightforward, and we know Levy, that is always the case. Give it an hour, Eze could be back on We Are Spurs.
Yeah.
He is coming to Spurs.
That's true.
He is coming to Spurs.
And I think I can't remember who said in the chat, but somebody said, fluid negotiations are fluid. That's exactly right.
Look, he's true as well. Other clubs get around PSR by being allowed to break the rules, and that is something me and Steve will be talking about in the next one of the next shows. We are in our Premier League show actually, which we're going to do soon. Not sure, Carl Simpson. Coy's ear is. Do you know what, Tequila? I wish people think when they play EAFC, right? Transfers are done there within 30 seconds. I swear to God. The people think that's how some people think our transfers is done.
I mean, with my EAFC Spurs teams, I was able to nab Gyökeres, Eze, and Mark Dahey in the same transfer window. Yeah, I mean, we could play fantasy football. Big
up to Niall. Big up Niall. He said 100% Dermo. It says you've been correct a good number of times, if not all, since I've started watching the show. I hope your source is right about Eze. I trust my source with my life. About Eze, massive transfer for a lot of reasons. Yeah, it will be. We'll just go through these 4 comments and then we will leave it there. Because Dermo's hungry. Haven't had any dinner yet and I'm hungry. Have to wait and see. Erwin, we know how Enoch operate. That's true. Owen said, how do Liverpool, Man City and others just get deals done? Levy's just asking around. It's so frustration. That's a whole nother show.
Well, you also have to understand that Liverpool had made one deal last summer when they signed Home Duke from Italy on a free. So they didn't. Liverpool didn't really spend last summer, and so they also had a bunch of leeway to be able to get things done early. And Liverpool is not a team that that operates the same way as we did. Man City can just Man City has the ability to pencil whip their numbers, just like Chelsea has their ability to pencil whip their numbers. So they don't care either. It just is what it is. They operate in a different manner than us. And it's just whatever. I don't pay too much.
Sorry, did Liverpool buy anyone last summer, or was that only one player?
They got the Italian winger. What's his name? Last summer. And they got him on a free.
I know who you mean. But it was only the one signing they made, wasn't it?
That's it.
And I remember a lot of Liverpool fans back then were shouting and raving why we're not making any signings. I think because...
it's Federico Chiesa.
Yeah, that's it. I think with us, I think reputation precedes Levy and the transfer market, how we deal with stuff. And correct. I think it does precede itself. And it does... But I do believe a lot of people that write stuff on X do it for their own agenda. Maybe it's an Arsenal fan putting it up there. So I'm beginning to this I do believe. Levy ain't going to win in league buying those players, Steve, with all due respect, bud.
I will say this, Tequila. It's the same tongue-in-cheek comment that Levy made in his interview. It's the same one that Ange Postecoglou made last year when he said that in his second season, I win things, right? It's not taken seriously. It's tongue-in-cheek. And I would probably assume that Levy himself doesn't believe that we're going to win the league or the Champions League. Maybe that's something he wants to do with whatever time he's got remaining. But that being said, to assume that that was going to happen this summer transfer window wasn't even realistic to begin with.
Yeah. Big up Boris. People don't seem to realize first off, transfers go like the first team players will have to agree, then goes into with the clubs. It's two completely different sets of rules. Dermo, you're telling me EAFC isn't realistic, but I won the Champions League with St. Mirren. Dermo. Jesus Christ, you did very well. You did extremely well, Tequila.
Good for St. Mirren.
Yeah. I hate Twitter or X. Where I know, yeah, so do I. Unfortunately, people use that because no fecker keeps us informed at all within the club. Well, we're doing our best. I'll never go on X. I only heard about Arsenal being influenced from We Are Tottenham TV thumbnail. I've seen a lot of thumbnails of Arsenal being in with him, and I was told today Arsenal are not in for him. And then do you want to just we got Fabio, Arsenal first choice, Rodrigo. I don't think he's coming. I mean, Carl says here, just give us 2 minutes, just answer this and then we'll end off here. Eze is an Arsenal first team choice. I think Eze, if he went to Arsenal, he'd be a squad player. He comes to Tottenham, he's a first team starter, in my view.
I would agree. And again, from what I was told, Arsenal's first choice is Victor Gyökeres of Sporting CP. Yeah. They need a striker, and they need a striker bad. It's something that they haven't had for a couple seasons. But right now, the negotiation is to get him for a number that makes sense for Arsenal. Sporting wants anywhere between 100 and 120 million pounds for the player. And the question is whether Arsenal will do that. Yes, they have spent 100 million pounds on a player. I believe Declan Rice was a 100 million pound player. So it's not like Arsenal hasn't done that before. But the reality is, it's Sporting CP is going to want to get the most bang for their buck for their best players. So we'll see how that transpires. But Easy is not their first target.
Yeah. I just want to say, lads, where is it? Carl and Tequila. Where are you, Carl? I've just sent you something. So just look on your WhatsApps if you can. It'd be very, if you look on your WhatsApps, I've just sent you something there, guys. So just have a look at it. Let me do that. Okay, so we've got Erwin says, we're all talking about Levy. Who does Frank want? Exactly. And then Carl says, a lot of thumbnails for attention. Yeah, that is so true. Listen, guys. Oh, and it comes in at the very end. Big up, Dermot. I'm sorry I'm late. Can you do it all again from the beginning, please? No. You're going to have to rewatch the rewind because I'm hungry and I want my dinner. Okay, mate. So
yeah, I'll do it. I'll do it from the beginning. Why not? I got nothing. I'm just playing.
We're going to put up Steve's 60-second rewind of the show in 60 seconds. Big up to you, Kuva. I haven't seen you for a while. You're due a phone call from me, so I'll give you a call over the weekend, bud. Hope you and the boys are doing all right. Guys, we are going to leave it there. We've got a few things coming up over the weekend. Tomorrow on THFC Until We Die, we have Steve's show, which he's going to explain what it's all about at midday. And also at 8 o'clock tomorrow night, we've got me and Steve, and maybe James, if you can join us, we're doing a tactical show on Thomas Frank and how we think Frank's going to set up next season with the players he's got and how Frank Ball's going to happen. And then Sunday on, now I'm not sure if I'm going to stream it on here, but if you come over to Fire Tier Podcast, me and Steve's first episode 1 of, we think it's called Premier League Till We Die. I think, was that the name we come up with?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, Premier League Till We Die.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Yeah, podcast that starts on Sunday, and that will be every Sunday at the same time. And then on Tuesday, me and Mr. Dave Harris from the Irish HOTSPUR, we start Irish Lads Talk Spurs, episode 1, Tuesday, 1 o'clock, guys. Every Tuesday, that will be the same time, and we will be getting guests that on as well. Right, Steve, what's happening tomorrow in your show?
Yeah, tomorrow morning
And
at
what you
7
got
o'clock
coming up?
Eastern. Yep, tomorrow at 7 o'clock Eastern, U.S. time, 12 o'clock UK time. Stateside Footy returns with the Saturday morning American Hotspur show. And it's the youth movement continues to roll with Spurs. And this is not something that is just attributable to the last couple of windows. This has been an ongoing transfer strategy for at least the last 4 seasons. So we're going to be talking about the youth movement with Spurs. That's going to be available on Stateside Footy as well as THFC, TTWD. And then on Sunday, we have a double header on Stateside Footy at 12 o'clock. The Club World Cup watch-along returns as Inter Miami will take on PSG. So that is going to be at 12 Eastern U.S. time, 5 o'clock p.m. UK time. And then at 7 o'clock, it is the Gold Cup watch-along. The U.S. men's national team take on Costa Rica in the Gold Cup quarterfinals. So it is the knockout rounds of the Continental Championship of CONCACAF as the U.S. men's national team will take on Costa Rica. And if the U.S. wins, then obviously they move on to the semifinals and will take on Canada if they happen to move on as well, too. So there's a lot of good watch-along action this weekend. And I'm looking forward to it, too, because, the Club World Cup has quietly become a hit in the United States. A lot of people didn't think that the U.S. market would appreciate it. But sure enough, there's been sellout crowds across our country here. And it's been a welcoming sight to see Premier League sides take place in this one, South American sides and all that good stuff. So we're going to be doing that with Inter Miami and PSG. So I'm looking forward to that as well. So there's a lot of football action this weekend on Stateside Footy. And of course, I'm sure you'll see Dermot and I scattered out throughout the weekend here on THFC TWD. And also make sure you hit the like and subscribe buttons, but also make sure you grab your memberships as well, too, because Dermot, that's actually going to be quite important as the summer continues to roll on.
Right, and very quickly, I forgot to do it. Big up to Jazz Fusion. Guys, I forgot to play the video for the channel sponsor. It is in the description below, so do hit that. And also the link, we've been put up for 2 YouTube awards as well. Best daytime show. I don't know why, because I go out at 8, but anyway, I'm still trying to get my head around that. And also the most underrated YouTube channel. We're up for 2 awards. The link for that is below for that as well, guys. We're back at 8 tomorrow night with a bit of a tactics show, and that's going to be fun because I'm going to teach myself tactics in the next 24 hours and try to become an absolute expert on Thomas Frank ball. So this should be fun tomorrow night. But yeah, big up. But we've got to finish with this. This is Jazz Fusion's to Couva the game. Eze in, unless he's out. St. Mirror in the Super Club. I need to be tranquilized. That covers it. I think there you go. And there is the link. Big up to Tequila as well for the private internet access. There we go. And it is 2 years. I think it's 85% off at the moment, unless I'm told differently. And you get 2 years access plus 4 months free. It is the best around. Guys, we'll see you tomorrow. Any news that breaks between now and tomorrow, we'll be straight live with it when anything compared to Tottenham. But do join Steve tomorrow at midday. Do join. I think I'm on with Steve for about an hour, if that's all right. And then I have to pop off. And then tomorrow night, we're on at 8. Sunday night, we're doing our first podcast. I'm really looking forward to that Premier League podcast, actually. It'd be good fun to talk about football in general. But guys, join us for them. Join Steve tomorrow and join him for all these football watch-alongs as well over the weekend. Whatever you do, come on, you Spurs. And Big Frank, we trust. We never stop. And we are the home of your breaking news. Always have been, always will be. Tottenham till we die. Come on, you Spurs.